We are live for a Hanukkah Eve edition of the MMA analysis. Folks, it's big. I busted out this sweet sweater vest. For those of you watching, you can get the full look at this beauty.
It's amazing.
Whew, it's just an incredible piece of fashion for everyone involved. I am your host, Brad Taschuk, and we're joined by almost a full house tonight. Lance is missing. He might show up for like 5 minutes to break down some Do Bronx. But we've got Sean here, we got Wes here, but most importantly, Andrew back from the dead. Thank you for joining us, sir. We appreciate it as always.
Back from a bike ride from halfway around the fucking world.
We're getting there. The idea is we're going to bike from Maine to San Diego at some point. That's going to come down the road, probably not next year, but further on. But super excited about this card. There's so many fighters I know, so I didn't have to look up that much stuff. It was really cool.
How many milers are you up to now in the bike rides? I saw you did like 100 recently.
Yeah. Well, I built my base kind of like a Jenga tower. So I just hired a coach, and now she's having me scale it back a little because I did a 50 mile, 100K, and then a 100 mile back to back weeks, and she was like, "You need to stop that. Let's."
I remember when you tweeted that originally in one of our group chats. I was like, you know what? I like Andrew, but this seems like a bit much. He's gone from literally 0 to 100 in like 2 weeks.
And the 100 miler, the last 10 miles, I did not want to have legs anymore. It was so fucking painful. I was dying. You can't quit. You can't quit at 90 miles. That's even sadder than the pain you feel. So
exactly. But we are happy to have you, and happy that some of the fighters that are on this card, because that always makes it a bit more enjoyable.
First comment in the YouTube section is actually a really good one. Like, did y'all happen to see what he's talking about? Jamel Hill, faults or whatever, however think about Jamel Hill, had the Paul kid on like their little talk show with Kerry Champion, and they asked him like, do you think it's like kind of racist that you knocked out Nate Robinson? And he's literally like, the kid's dumb as fuck anyway, but I'm even like, what the fuck does racism have to do with him knocking a guy out that got paid to step in the ring? Is this where we're at? Like, what about the actual bad things that are happening? And that's the question. Don't it feel kind of racist that you knocked out Nate Robinson? No, bitch, I got paid to go in there and knock out Nate Robinson.
He should have done the right thing.
Like $200K for training for 2 weeks.
He should have done the right thing and stuck out his chin and take it on the chin.
Reparations, baby.
Reparations. Yeah,
that's right.
It's pretty fucked up what he did. I'll apologize in advance. I'm in buttfuck nowhere, Manitoba. So if I got shitty internet and shitty audio, that would be why. But we'll try to get through.
Manitoba, ain't that cigarettes from King of the Hill? Ain't that where Del Gribble gets his cigarettes or something like that?
Probably. Hey, my dad drives like half an hour. Well, not anymore because fucking COVID. But used to drive half an hour up to the reserve to pick up just like cartons of the native cigarettes. Yep. No filters on them bitches. It's the good shit.
Tax free, baby.
That's right.
The first cigarette I ever had in my life was an unfiltered Lucky Strike, and I threw up all over the place. It was awful.
Perfect.
Embarrass myself.
That's like my first dip when you actually swallow a little bit, and it's just like, nope, that's not supposed to happen.
I had 2 first dips because when I was really young, my grandpa, he chewed beech nut and smoked and smoked. He did them both. But I asked him for a piece one time. He gave me one like strip of beech nut, and I put it right in. I thought it was licorice. Chewed that shit, dude. Was puking everywhere, dude. It was so good.
Good stories.
Nothing quite like the head rush that you get from a good dip, though. I mean, that's top notch. Just some chef's kiss stuff right there.
Now we know why Lance can't put it down. It's the head rush.
Sean, how are you doing? Even though you got your shitty Manitoba internet.
I'm good. I need to get home. I'll be getting home tomorrow, and hopefully don't have to go anywhere for a while after that, and try to fight off this COVID.
There you go. Do you want to inform us a little bit about your name this week? Because some people might have missed it, but you're talking about the scouting report for Cody Fight Club Dern that was just filled with shit and gave him pink eye. So elaborate, please.
Yeah, Dern's an idiot. Like he hires a shitty tout to give him a scouting report, and he got a literal shitty scouting report. Bro Hugs doesn't fucking wash his hands or something after he's rubbing itching his asshole or whatever.
If you've seen that sink, what's it matter if he's washing them or not?
Dirty bag water and fucking
guys, cut him some slack. When you're watching that much tape, who has time to wash your hands? Really?
That's true.
Come on.
Who has time to clean up loose soil off of their bathroom sink when you're watching that much tape?
Yeah. I mean, you got to give the man some credit. Just hard work all the time. Wes, how's the sod doing down in Kentucky these days?
It's stopped, so that's a good thing. I'm about to just be chilling for a couple months, and that's always a good time.
That means it's bet winning season in Kentucky. So get ready, folks. Get ready.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any stupid news we got to talk about in MMA?
YOLO?
Guys
Rumble.
getting cut that should be cut. Guys
Rumble.
Going to Bellator that should be in the the UFC is trying to be the second best or third best MMA organization at this point. Like they're actively trying to do that, right?
I said something about it last week, but can we officially stop acting like this is the premier MMA organization and shit? Like they're not. They shove you the just bullshit constantly. Talking about cutting 95 or whatever the fuck. Those are all going to be like halfway decent guys that are making a good check. YOLO's a prime example. Maybe not even that he was just making a good check, but he's like too good to be a gatekeeper for guys. You don't want to get beat up, but he's not good enough to be the champ. But just shit like that. We're letting a guy like YOLO leave, and whatever the beef was with Rumble, like Rumble is a draw. Like just casuals on Twitter talk about Rumble and wanting Rumble to come back, and it was probably over a tiny amount of money that they let him fucking walk and go to Bellator. Which, I mean, could we argue now and even say that like UFC has the best light heavyweight division anymore? Like Bellator's light heavyweight division is.
It's the closest it's ever been. That's for sure. It's
not bad. I mean, I guess the UFC has a couple of young, okay guys, but I mean, with Bones going up to heavyweight and shit. But yeah, letting Rumble walk, letting YOLO go, and then like
in weak divisions. That's the main thing, man.
Yeah,
Those guys are in shitty divisions, and you're letting like decent talent fucking go. It's garbage.
It's like you don't. They don't want to like keep giving like YOLO like title shots, I guess, but. Build up a fucking division then. Build up some contenders. Get some young guys. Build up some contenders. I mean, I'm not opposed to watching YOLO fight for a title every 8 months. I don't give a shit. I just want to see him fight. And then you got like one in all these places are talking about like YOLO. There's not a market for YOLO. There's not a market for I get the Anderson Silva shit, Anderson Silva and shit like that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm ready to see these cuts because I think people are going to be they'll have some kind of excuse for it. They'll make up the UFC fanboys will make up some kind of excuse to how that's good business, and they'll keep like, I'm tuning in for fucking Contender Series white guy number 7 fighting this weekend, but fuck YOLO, that guy costs too much money. Fuck Rumble, that guy doesn't, I don't get it.
They're literally counting pennies at this point. Like, it is turned into just a full corporate snobbery exposition in the UFC now. So, Andrew, you look like you got something to say.
Yeah, I do. I was trying to think of like the first time I realized that they're heading this direction, and you guys can correct me. You have better memories about this stuff, but I feel like when John Fitch left is when I started thinking that like they were starting to get rid of names that like were making money but weren't necessarily exciting or whatever, and starting to become less of a let's make the best, have the best fighters, and go toward this kind of more entertainment shit, weird stuff that doesn't have to do with like real competition, I guess.
Yeah, John Fitch, Yushin Okami, Jake Shields. Yeah. There was like a little string of it back in, I don't know what that would have been, like 2012 or something like that. I don't know exactly when those guys got cut, but yeah, we've seen this before, and people excused it back then because it was boring guys that were getting cut. Now it's not boring guys that are getting cut anymore. It's very good fighters, exciting fighters, top fighters, and
it should be paid, and they're cutting them because they make too much money.
Yep.
And they should make that money. That's the fucking problem. Like they
should have been making that.
Yeah,
money.
Exactly.
And but it's easier to put on a 10-10 fight between two guys off the Contender Series.
Yeah, you're right. It's the corporate. It's the whole Endeavor thing too. Like that's when Andrew's right about it changing kind of in that time, that point in time. It also changed when Endeavor happened.
The pitching went up to 11.
The TV deals happened and shit. Like they had to put out content. They are a content producer now. They're almost like a YouTube fucking channel.
It's a puppy mill.
Yeah, it's a fucking they're goddamn human traffickers. Like
I would say the Contender Series is the puppy mill, and like UFC is like the shelter.
So YOLO versus Anderson Silva 1999 pay-per-view.
I've watched the fuck out of it.
I know. They probably made more money than they have in the last couple of years.
I'd more likely to pay for that than any UFC pay-per-view that I've seen over the past 3 years.
What do you want to watch more? Or the most people would watch more? Figueiredo versus Moreno or Romero versus
Anderson Silva.
Yeah. Like 10 times the amount of people would turn that fight on. Yeah. Mike Tyson a couple of weekends ago was getting more
million. Yeah. Everyone knows I love the flyweights as much, if not more, than anyone. But back-to-back Davis and Figueiredo headlined pay-per-views.
2020, baby.
Ooh.
Those fucking fanboys that tell you, I got to see the prime competition. That's what I want. I want the best fighters and shit. And then they'll watch that whole undercard with 7 Contender Series guys and every fucking thing else.
It's tough. It's a tough slot. Like it's good. I usually have it on the background now. I'm playing some board games or some cards or something like that, and fights are on in the background. I'm glancing up and. If there's something that I missed that I have to go back and see, I go watch it. But for the most part, completely skippable.
Yeah.
Speaking of completely skippable, do we want to talk about last week's card that was like 12 fights, and then all of a sudden it ended up being 8 fights? You know what? I went back and I listened to last week's podcast, and I said, guys, I really think that I need to be more positive on the podcast. I'm going to try and bring some joy to the people. It's the holiday season, But then we had an 8-fight card that didn't end until 1 a.m. What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I didn't even watch it. I don't know. I turned it on and then I was like, what am I doing? Because Andrea hates MMA. So like if I turn it on, she puts the headphones on. And then I don't have anybody to talk to. So I'm like, I'm gonna watch this fight and not get to talk to my wife. Like, okay, whatever. I'm a white guy. Yeah.
We need to start doing the Zooms again because that fun.
Makes it more exciting. Yeah,
it's impossible to watch UFC prelims and shit like that without having another TV going, or like Brad said, playing a board game, playing your fucking PlayStation, something else going. I always have multiple TVs. Women's fights, literally the volume goes down on the MMA TV, and I'm watching football or basketball or whatever the fuck else is going on.
Yeah, season, baby. Starting main cards at 10 p.m. I don't give a fuck if it's a pay-per-view or not. Is ridiculous.
There was like
9 at the latest.
There was like one time that it was a few years ago. You remember, like they started a pay-per-view at 9 and tried to do it from 9 to 12, and they never did it again. And everybody
and it still went till 1.
Yeah, but everybody was even like, "Oh man, it's starting early." Like, that's fucking great. Like every time they start the fight nights at 8:00 and they're over by like 11, people's like, "Hell yeah!" That's the. I don't get it. I don't know why they don't try to do that more.
Understand? We're not billionaires, Wes.
Especially now, like there's no fans. It literally does not matter as far as like being out in Las Vegas. Like I could get it when you're on the West Coast, not wanting to start your main card at 5:00 in the afternoon out in Vegas. There's nobody there. Everybody's watching it at home fucking anyway. You can start at 8. That's primetime television. That's when you want people to be watching TV, not at fucking midnight,
Yep.
Anyways, we're going to run through this card pretty quick. And as always, we're going to start off with the main event. So in the heavyweight division, we had Baked Collier taking on Pasta Johnny Vellante, and just an incredible fight. Baked Collier, he came in at the same weight. He came in at like 264 and a half or whatever, but this is a changed man. This dude that I saw last week, he is a heavyweight contender. I can see him just shooting up to the top. You know what? Next fight I want to see Collier and Porky Porker. That's the fight to make. Tell me I'm wrong, Wes.
God, all the shit flying in that fight, and I'm not talking hands. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but I lost some money. I know Vellante, and I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot for even having money on Vellante in the first place. My God, man, like that guy, he was winded like 30 seconds in. Like Vellante was like huffing air 30 seconds into the fight, and I thought it was Collier that was gonna just be. I don't know. I guess he's gotten used to the 70 pounds he's put on. He's full-time. He's full-time fighter,
That's right. He's been carrying around that weight with a welding mask and like the whole suit the last few years. So, man, he takes that off and he feels as light as a feather. Did you see him moving around in there, Sean?
Oh, my God.
Dude, that fight was bad.
If you get 30-27 across the board by a 265-pound Jake Collier, you have to retire. Those are the rules. I don't give a fuck who you are. It's over. It's garbage, man. That's such a bad loss.
Andrew, I know you probably didn't see this, and any thoughts just generally on fat guys being fat guys in MMA? Is there anything better?
Oh, it rules. I ironically like the heavyweight division when it's at its worst. I think like it's there's just nothing better than seeing a guy that's out of breath a minute and a half in. It's wonderful. And they have so many weird fighters too. Like Derek Lewis has one of the strangest skill sets I've ever seen in heavyweight period. And like there's all these other weird guys who are weirdly strong, but they're not fast and they run out of gas instantly. There's such a variety of just weirdness in that division. I love it.
It's incredible. It's where you see like the most of what MMA actually is the heavyweight division.
Derek Lewis skill set. I'm going to be fat and fucking suck for 14 minutes and 30 seconds. Then boom, I'm going to win.
Damn
It's
right.
wonderful.
Wes
It's
is
wonderful. It makes
Yeah.
the sport better. It makes the sport better seeing crazy shit like that, you know?
Hot
It
garbage,
takes me
baby.
back. It takes me back to the old days when I see guys like Jake Collier winning fights in 2020. It takes me back to 1998, straight up.
Yep.
It's very true. Next up, featherweight division, we had Ilia Topuria, looking pretty good on the feet. I think this kid might be something. Just smoking Damon Jackson, which was, he's supposed to be a grappler, Topuria, but this was his best path to victory, and he took it. Sean?
Yeah, I had a small bet on Jackson, and I was kind of waiting for Topuria to gas just a tiny bit, because, man, he was throwing fucking heat, but just everything he was landing, and the dude looks pretty good. So if he's able to, keep getting better on the feet to go along with his grappling, he could be something at featherweight. Another decent guy at featherweight. Nothing wrong with that.
Wes?
Yeah, I was in the same boat there. I had a little bet on Jackson, and yeah, I mean, Topuria showed up. Damon Jackson ain't like the best striker or anything like that, but to keep it on the feet and to finish a guy like Jackson though is a little impressive, because Jackson's been around. He's a vet. He's an okay fighter. So yeah, very impressive. I'm intrigued. Another good young guy at the lighter weights.
Andrew, which fights should I go to you on for the recap here, just so we don't have some dead air?
Okay, do you have a pen and paper so you can list them all?
No.
I'll start with number one. You can just skip me. Just skip me. We're good. We're good.
That's what I was thinking. Next up, this one put a little smile on our faces, I think. The boy, the the Toutmaster competitor, Louis Smokes himself, goes out there and just takes care of business. He made 3-day Taco Meat Man look like 2-day Taco Meat Man in that fight. Just beautiful stuff from Louis Smolka. TKO in the second round. Wes?
Yeah, that was I loved every part of that, man. That was a fun fight. I was happy to see Smolka get a win. Man, Smolka is exciting. Whether that guy wins or loses, like, I'm always up for a Smolka fight, man. That guy's
Fun.
awesome. Yeah, friend of the show. And I gotta say, that was our consensus last week. But honestly, that might have been the best spot on the entire card. If you had Smolka, congrats and shit. But that fight was never ever gonna see the bell ever. That was a great spot on this card.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked about, Smolka was a favorite, and the under 2.5 was like plus 145 is what it was when we recorded. And I didn't know why anyone would take Smolka when the under was that price, and that's how he was going to win. Sean?
Yeah, not much more to say. Love that under bet. It was weird because they rebooked it and they priced it the same. They didn't really, even though it got hit a bunch. But yeah, we'll take advantage. That was a fun one, and good to see Smolka win on as kind of a cherry on the top.
Next up, lightweight division. Some people took it, some people left it, and one person in particular had their entire essence left in the cage, and that was Flat Lineman, because he was a dead body. Wes?
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. I mean, we get wow moments every now and then. That was wow moment. I was like, holy fuck. I don't know why Weinman was in there to begin with, to tell you the truth.
Hate check, baby.
I think they cut him like the next day or some shit. So, yeah, I don't know what to think of Levitt at this point, though. I mean, off of that and contendership, I know he's a weird dude. I know
He's
that
a Mormon. What do you expect?
Yeah, he's I don't know, man, but I guess we'll see another one. I got to see one more from him. Who knows off of that, but fucking awesome slam. That was an absolute wow moment.
What's his nickname? It's something stupid, right?
It is.
I know Sean's always got this stuff for me.
I usually do.
They call him.
Just incredible.
The Monkey King.
The monkey.
They need to call him Baby in a Corner.
I was gonna say,
did some dirty dancing shit.
Nobody puts Baby in a corner, but Baby will pick Matt Wyman up and carry him to the corner and slam him on his fucking head.
That was a beautiful violent finish. That's all it needs to be said.
I still think that Leave It sucks. And as soon as he faces somebody that can wrestle even a tiny little bit, he is going to lose. And the fact that he got this incredible knockout will probably make that price even better. So tremendous. Perfect. And I won some bets, except the over didn't hit.
Ooh.
Oh well. Next up, this seems like a dude who is absolutely going to lose to the Bear Jew at some point. Because I hear people talking about how Doolittle, I don't know, had a good performance or something. This guy sucks. John Allen sucks worse. He's not a Brazilian, obviously, if you couldn't tell by his name being John Allen. But yeah, this wasn't particularly fun, and he does stupid shit. I got nothing. Sean?
Yeah, I just tossed a tiny bit of money on the lids by sub, and he was trying to go for those heel hooks and shit like that. That's all I could ask for, like plus 800. But yeah, he's terrible. It was a terrible
fight. They weren't really
fight.
close at any point, though.
No, it wasn't close. And usually either you get those leg locks or it's over. The only thing to give a shit about in this fight is how bad of a judge Chris Lee is, and he will continue to get work because this is MMA and the government controls shit like that, and nothing changes. It's terrible.
Wes, is there any point in talking about how bad MMA judging is at this point, and like the different judging systems we can try and all this sort? Like we said it for years. You need better judges. It doesn't matter what system you've got. You need better judges, and we don't have them.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, Lance will go into his scoring shit almost every show, and we keep saying it doesn't matter. Like I don't want like more liberal 10-8 and 10-7 rounds and shit with these idiot judges. They're just gonna fuck those up too. I will say that somehow somebody turned Chris Lee's bad MMA judging into somehow it being
an attack on boxing.
Being boxing's fault that this guy can't judge fights, especially when he's never judged a boxing match ever in his life either. But how
minds right there.
How the only fault of boxing in any of this judge is that they're using boxing scoring criteria.
They could come with something of their own.
Yeah, and that's on Dana White and Zuffa and them that agreed to all that shit back in the day so they could get regulated as fast as possible. They agreed to all that. So stop. There's just certain people that have something with boxing. I don't know if they lost a bunch of money on a Tyson fight or something back in the day, but Chris Lee has nothing to do with boxing.
No, he's just a terrible judge.
I'm pretty sure that Dominic Cruz went into a boxing gym early in his career and just got knocked the fuck out. And he's hated boxing ever since. And that's what happened. Andrew, any comments on MMA judging as a general dumpster fire?
It's kind of weird how consistent the outrage is week to week. Like after some point, you just got to go, well, move on with your life. I don't know. I mean, it's different when you have money on the fight, but if you're just the guy watching, unless it's like your favorite fighter ever, I don't know, maybe calm down a little bit. It's just a mainstay of the sport, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
That is a very accurate take. Lightweight division, we had a pretty quick one here. Justin James is a pure I'm in the UFC because of COVID type of guy. Got a knockout in his first fight and has gotten smoked in his two fights since then. Gabriel Benitez is a fighter who kind of belongs in the UFC. Sean?
Yeah, it was a nice knee. Just really good timing. And Benitez isn't terrible. And when he goes against guys that, like you said, aren't UFC level, this is what happens.
Yep.
I'm just an idiot and didn't bet it.
Wes?
Yeah, he just a good, solid fighter. I think he's a little bit underrated and probably a really good gatekeeper for a division like that. If you can have a good outing or beat Gabriel Benitez, then you're probably a pretty good fighter. And James is some guy they pulled out of a cave out in Nevada somewhere because COVID's going crazy. So, yeah.
Hooray.
Yeah. Somehow in my my bad takes before the fight, I said that Benitez only finishes guys that have wood splinters in their ass because they scrape the bottom of the barrel. And then I didn't bet on Benitez in the distance in this fight. So, hey, that goes to show you what I know.
Sharp.
Co-main event, light heavyweight division. We have Jinder Mahal getting the TKO against our boy Oth. Lost a little bit of money on this one, and I kind of thought that Jinder's only path to victory was going to be a decision, but he ended up getting a TKO, kind of. I mean, if you're a light heavyweight and you hit a guy with 100 unanswered strikes and you can't even knock him over, did you really TKO him?
Nah, that ain't a real TKO. Yeah, I was on our boy the spit machine here too. I'm still not completely sold on this dude. I saw a lot of people losing their minds. You know how Twitter does on fight nights, and this is the next great thing in MMA apparently, and I don't know yet. OSP's just funny at this stage, man. Like sometimes he doesn't get hurt by that shit and finds a way to take these kind of guys out. And then the other side, you got nights like this to where he literally gets obliterated out of nowhere. And I'm OSP is one of those guys that I can't get a lot of his fights right, man. I don't know what it is, but he's just one of those guys. And old, washed up, bad OSP showed up. I'm not sold on Hill.
Yeah, same for me. I don't know. I think OSP coming in and being the first guy to weigh in, or one of the first guys to weigh in, and being like, "Yeah, I'm not even going to bother cutting another pound and a half." That probably told you something about his mindset coming into this fight. Andrew, any OSP takes?
Not really, except to add on to what Wes said. I think another fighter the first fighter that popped in my mind that reminds me of OSP and that kind of unpredictability is like probably Uriah Hall. I think I'm sure there's 100 examples, but that's the first one that popped in my head. I don't have anything else to add.
Uriah Hall makes it look a whole lot more fun when he's doing it.
Definitely, that would be the difference. Yeah, I mean, OSP, it was a somewhat competitive first round. I thought he lost, but he wasn't getting washed, and then he just got clipped and, like you said, got hit a bunch and I guess got finished.
And the one thing is, like, if OSP can switch to his bad stance and light your shit up with leg kicks, that's probably not a great sign moving forward, especially in the era of my favorite technique in the world.
Calf kick, baby.
That guy's going to get... I heard some like Dominic Reyes comparisons coming out of this fight.
I saw some shit and I was laughing. I was like, please just give me somebody competent and a good price, because I'm gonna make some money against this dude. Guarantee it.
Yeah. Maybe they bring him along slowly and actually give him appropriate matchups, but after you beat a guy like OSP, the UFC's not good at playing guys along slowly, so he's going to end up in there with pretty soon with somebody that's a bit above his level. Finally, the co-main event of the evening. I don't know why it was scheduled for 5 rounds, but Marvin Vettori takes a unanimous decision. As we said last week, Vettori is Italian for decision, even when he hurts guys in the first round. Still can't get him out of there. Over Jack Hermansson. As I learned from our boy Aaron, he always gets the correct pronunciations of these guys. This was a really fun fight. I lost a bit on it because I had an Hermansson bet. And then second round, when I thought it was starting to turn a bit, I got a bit more on him at plus 550. And at one point, they were willing to cash those tickets out for me pretty good. But I'm not sure when he broke his foot in this fight, but I think that played a big impact, because when he was actually mixing things up and combining his strikes with going for takedowns and stuff like that, he seemed to be tiring Vettori out a little bit. And then the last 2 rounds just turned into a straight striking battle, and Vettori won that, which we all kind of expected. Sean?
Yeah, Hermansson was the trendy dog pick on Twitter. I stayed away. I guess I sprinkled a bit on Hermansson's sub in the first round, but Vettori's decent. He's got decent striking defense. I don't know what else to say. Well, it's hard to say just because he doesn't fight that often for one reason or another. I guess this was a good step up for him finally. I guess we'll see now if he can compete with the upper echelon at 185 with his skills. I mean, he's kind of a meathead, but he's definitely got some skills, and his stand-up seems like it's improving. So he still can't finish a fly, though.
He seems like one of the least interesting potential title challengers in recent memory. Wes?
Yeah, I mean, even if the guy gets there, like, how do you sell an absolute meathead moron like that? Like that guy, his interview afterwards where he's on ESPN or wherever, they were just saying, cussing all over, saying, I'm not against I cuss like a motherfucker, but he's a moron. I like Vettori going into this fight when it was first announced and shit. I kind of talked myself into Hermansson because he was a dog, and I did think it was a closer fight. Hermansson gave a good account of himself in this fight, I thought, but I think Vettori's actually pretty good. I'm giving him a lot more credit, and I've liked Vettori. I'm giving him a lot more credit coming out of this fight, man. Like, I think Hermansson's pretty good. Like, he's one of the top guys in that division. And Vettori fucking took that fight in the last couple rounds. Now, maybe, the foot probably did play somewhat of a part, but, the cardio was a question on Vettori. I think that held up very, very well. He didn't slow down in the 4th and 5th round. His stand-up looks really good. Finishing, that's another thing, but I think it's just like his second fight camp over here in the States too. Like, he moved over here and started training at an actual fucking gym in the past couple of years. So I just think it's a whole lot more that Vettori's probably better than we all thought he was, and I think we all thought he was an okay fighter. So we need some guys at 185, man. I'd watch him fight Izzy. I'd watch Izzy have somebody that's going to rush at him and bring the fight to him. I think that doesn't bode well for Vettori, but I mean, we saw. I don't think Vettori's as good as Gastelum yet, but we saw what a guy like Gastelum pushing the pace on Izzy did. That was Izzy's toughest fight. Was a guy that came at him and jumped in his face. I think that's how everybody thought Paulo Costa was going to fight him. And a lot of people was picking Costa to beat him because that's how they thought Costa was going to fight him. I think we know Vettori will come at him. I don't think Vettori's too dumb to not
get
do
hypnotized.
not do what got him there. Like, how many main events did we talk the past couple of months of guys not doing what got him there and losing? Vittori's too stupid to not do what got him there. He's going to get in there and he's going to go after Izzy. That'd be a good fight. I think Vettori's pretty good. And, it's another guy at 185, and we need some good fighters at 185.
Andrew, any thoughts on the incredible Marvin Vettori?
Not really.
Fair.
Nothing.
That is the correct answer. All right. tried to keep it pretty short. We should probably start doing like timestamps or something for when we finish our breakdowns.
I do. Good thing you watch the YouTubes. After the fact, I do.
I listen on Spotify. Right?
Appreciate that.
I don't want to. I look at my pretty face enough. I want to leave some of it out of there in internet land for the viewers.
Nobody wants to see this ugly mug. They want to hear. They want to hear the twang. That's it.
Yep.
That's right. So we are moving on to a pay-per-view, and well, the very, very top of it might not look like a pay-per-view. This is pretty entertaining card. This is probably from top to almost bottom, one of the more well-balanced UFC cards that they've put out in a while. So we got UFC 256, as mentioned earlier, headlined once again by Davison Figueiredo, the Deus de Guerra. Got to throw in the correct nickname before we butcher it later on. But this was, I don't know, earlier this week, this was like a 74 fight card. And then we lost 62 fights to COVID. And then Tisha Torres got booked in some last minute fight against some chick who lost to a stripper. So I don't know how many fights we've got now, but we're going to go through all these fights. And we are going to start in the middleweight division. We have the no longer teenage dream, because that would be weird and a little bit creepy. Chase Hooper taking on Slippery Pete, which, I mean, a guy nicknamed Slippery Pete going against the teenage dream. That sounds like some Pornhub shit.
Yeah, this is a Pornhub top 10 video, not a fight.
Cam soda.
Cam soda. Yeah.
Sean, start us off.
This is a straight fade on Hooper. It's nothing big. It might be because I'm salty because I got a really good number against him versus Caceres, and then the line ballooned, and then he kind of got smoked in that fight and made me look like a dumbass, even though I beat the line by like 100 cents. But you minus 400. I know Peter Barrett is fucking terrible, but minus 400 after what we just saw. I know Peter Barrett is not even close to Alex Caceres, but that is not the point, and I will stick to my guns. I got half a unit on Peter Barrett at plus 320. Prove me wrong. Barrett probably gets subbed. I will take that because I need some retribution after looking like an idiot last time betting Hooper.
Wesley.
Yeah, last time I got some like plus 160 or plus 170 something around there on our boy Caceres, and I'm kind of with Sean still though. I mean, I'm coming from a different perspective, having hit that nice one against him last time. Look, Peter fucking whatever the fuck he's not great, man, but Hooper's going to have to show me one back before I'm seeing minus 400 and shit again. I don't see how you could lay that on him here. You're going to go broke over time. Like, this is probably a tout parlay special. I would not doubt it at all. If there's some bets being sold with a Hooper in a parlay. This is just another pure fade for me. I'm going to sprinkle on Slippery Pete here.
Andrew, have you heard of the legend Slippery Pete?
I have not heard of either of these guys, and I'm just going to read the 5 little notes I took when I wrote out a pre-show. I said Chase Hooper, the teenage dream, and then 5 question marks, and then losing to Alex Caceres. Not the worst thing in the world, but still not great. And then I wrote Slippery Pete and 6 question marks. And then I said losing to Youssef Zalal. I don't know who that is, but I looked at his record and I was like, maybe not bad. And then I said pick Barrett and nickname pick because capital letters, who cares? That's my notes.
That is an excellent breakdown. you're all wrong, though, because Peter Barrett, Slippery Pete, never again will he be referred to by his full name. You got to go by Slippery Pete if that's your nickname. He's terrible. He is just like we talked about Justin James a couple minutes ago. We talked about a guy who is only in the UFC because of COVID, and he is absolutely that guy. So he has lost to Yusuf Zalal, as you alluded to.
Oh, it's Dana's boy. Oh, man.
Got,
from Dana's boys' gym. That's why he's there. He's going to get trucked, homie.
He got submitted by something called Connor Berry in a 2 minutes and 57 seconds. He got submitted by TJ Brown. Remember when TJ Brown was in the UFC for like half a minute? He got submitted by him.
No.
And he got knocked out by Drew Morais, who, again, never heard of that dude, in a minute 53. So, yes, Chase Hooper is very much overrated. People got burned on him in the last fight. Some of us made some decent money on Alex Caceres in the last fight. But honestly, I wasn't... Like, that didn't turn me off of Chase Hooper. He got clipped by a bunch of stuff and showed a pretty decent chin. But most importantly, he never stopped moving forward. And he got Caceres in a bunch of spots, whether he took his back, whether he got it to the ground and got it into scrambles, stuff like that, where he's going to get on top of Slippery Pete. Don't let the nickname fool you. This guy is not too slippery when it gets to the ground. And Hooper is very good on the ground. I took a little bit, just a little bit, of Hooper TKO at plus 1050 in this fight. Because I've seen a couple times in the past where he's got that like topside triangle, but he's one of those dudes that's too long to finish the triangles. So then he just elbows the dude in the head a bunch of times, and the ref steps in and calls it a TKO. So I took a little bit of Chase Hooper at by TKO at plus 1050. So that's my little bet in here. But honestly, I wouldn't hate anybody that's parlaying Hooper in this spot because I think he kind of rolls. Next up.
They are trying to get him a win.
They are, absolutely. And I could go on further, but like Barrett always falls into clinches and stuff like that, and he's just gonna, even if Hooper's not stronger, which he's probably not because he's a little fucking gangly pipe cleaner, he'll be able to like sneak around and hop on his back and stuff like that. So Hooper, he's gonna win this one pretty big, I think. Next up, some big boys. We got Sergey Speedbag against Jared Bandeja Bread. Wait, do you guys have Boston Pizza in the States? Is that a thing?
I think that's a Canadian-only thing.
Okay.
I think there might be some in certain parts, but there's not many if there is.
So
I've never seen one.
That nickname completely misses with most of our audience. But Boston Pizza is a restaurant in Canada that serves pizza. I don't know why they advertise it being from Boston, because Boston isn't known for pizza.
No.
But they've got an appetizer called Vanderaa bread. And just like Vanderaa, it's very tough and has no flavor at all to it.
That might be the best description I've ever heard of this guy.
Wes, we'll start with you on this one.
Yes.
I don't even know how the fuck I'm supposed to follow that with any kind of description. That's pretty perfect. Yeah, I have much on this fight, man. Spivak's probably better. Are you laying minus or 235 on Spivak?
Yes.
Oh, man. The bread might be tough. The bread might just be too tough here, dude.
Might be stale enough.
Yeah, he might be 3-day old, 3-day old bread. Yeah, I'm probably gonna pick Spivak here. I think he's the slightly better guy. He's got the UFC experience. I can't lay it here. He's the pick though.
Sean?
I looked into this fight about 0 seconds.
Correct.
Yeah, I would pick Spivak. I don't know what him by sub maybe.
I think it's like 250, something like that.
Yeah, that's probably right. I'll pick him, but I'll leave laying the juice on shitty Spivak to you, Brad.
He's got Hooper and Spivak, and
I know
he's going full tout. He's going full tout this week.
He's going full touty.
Hey, did I say I was laying the juice on Hooper? No, I found a 4-digit prop.
But you also said that you wouldn't blame anybody for doing it.
I don't blame them.
He just fucking like pushed out his fucking junk to 7 touts. They're gonna listen to this and be like, Brad's right. 7 tout parlays.
There we go.
Right. Andrew, thoughts on the incredible heavyweight matchup between Sergey Spivak?
No, I mean, for both guys, I just wrote has won and lost to some guys, and then I wrote Spivak feels like most Dana White Contender Series dudes are trash now, and so I'm picking him to beat this other dude, Vanderaa.
That is an incredibly accurate way to describe what was this season 4 of Contender Series? Yeah. So pretty much anybody that came out of season 4 is not good. So you can probably fade dudes just based on that. But we've seen Spivak in there against some pretty decent dudes. Like he lost to Tybura, but he was still there fighting in the 3rd round. Got a bunch of takedowns against that fat dude that is disgusting and drinks beer out of a shoe. So I guess that's a thing. And even in the 3rd round of his last fight, which I actually saw for some reason, he was kind of beating the shit out of that dude. So most heavyweights aren't going to have enough gas to survive that in the 3rd round. I know that one of my books was super slow on getting their round props out for this fight, but I'm kind of thinking that Spivak gets it done in the 2nd or 3rd. So I'll see what those round props are, and I think that he's going to come through in this one because Vanderaa is one of those dudes that is terrible unless he gets on top of you. He's like a white Derek Lewis. So
not even close to that.
Oh god!
Think of how bad Derek Lewis is, and then imagine if he was white and how much worse he would be. And that's this dude. So there you go, Spivak. Does anybody have any movies that they would like to review? Any movies that you've watched lately? Nothing. Because otherwise,
me and Andrew will review Cyberpunk
video games
after tomorrow.
Yeah,
We're both gonna have
after tomorrow.
We'll have metal tattooed fucking penises by tomorrow noon.
Absolutely. I did see a movie though that I just wanted to mention very quickly. And I know I'm super late to this party, but I just watched Mad Max Fury Road for the first time. And if that got by you didn't come on your radar, watch the damn movie. It is so much fun start to finish. Like there wasn't a single slow moment. I was like just absolutely enthralled and engaged by what was on the screen. And it's good for even people that don't want to think about a movie or you want to think about it a little bit or whatever. It's good for everybody. Just watch the damn movie.
There you go.
And it looks fucking amazing. Like the cinematography is fucking amazing.
That's right. And you guys got to hear Wes say cinematography as well. So that is your breakdown.
That's a hell of a breakdown for it.
And Sam Hughes.
I guarantee the enjoyment that the listeners will get from that will be much more than what they get from watching the Tisha Torres.
I can't come up with catchy names like the movie reviewer that used to host it. Crime scene dramedy murder flick horror show.
All right. I think you're on out. It's mostly stuff that we actually want to talk about because This is where the card takes a bit of a turn for the better.
Yep.
For the better. Little detour coming up, but mostly good. Featherweight division, we've got Govna Tucker. For those of you who don't know, where Sean lives, Alberta, that's like the Texas of Canada. But where Gavin Tucker comes from, Newfoundland, that's like the Alabama of Canada. So that's what you're getting with Gavin Tucker here. And he is taking on a man who's like top 5. He's in the top 5 list of being built for these times. We're talking about some Billy Quarantine. So Sean, we're going to start off with you here because you're probably going to bet on a Canadian because that's what you do.
Fuck no. Dude, I got plus 105 on Billy Q.
That's insane.
That's insane. And I mean, even then, like it stuck around like Pick'em for a long, long time. And obviously people finally clued in and started betting Billy Q early this week. I didn't get that number. I don't understand. Gavin Tucker is not that good. He's beaten some really horrible guys. Billy Q puts a fucking pace on you. He's got pretty good grappling. I just think he's much better than Gavin Tucker. I mean, I saw Gavin Tucker almost die in the fucking ring against Rick Glenn. That was a absolute mauling. Billy Q is very, very good. I know he hasn't fought the greatest fighters, but he's been in some situations where they've tested him and he's kind of came through with flying colors. This guy is gritty. He can take a beating and he can overcome. He's got very good cardio. I think he's gonna run through Gavin Tucker. So I got 2 units on Billy Q at plus 105. I was scared away by this number. I was just like, am I totally missing something? I should have added more, obviously, by what it is now, but I'll still roll with that number on Billy Q.
We have an important update by a man who, there you go. He discusses these things. Steve Gregory is our insider in terms of entertainment and soccer bets. Even though you fucking cost me, you son of a
only
bitch.
Winner, Steve. What the fuck?
You're not allowed to post losers in the chat, Steve. Wes, what do you got here on Tucker and the Quarantine Man?
Yeah, I think Sean got a lot of it. I just think Billy Q's he's a better Gavin Tucker. Like they're almost kind of the same kind of guy, but Billy Q just does it all so much better. And like Sean said, the level of competition. I mean, I don't think Billy Q faced tough guys, but even a guy like Spike, he's gonna bring it though. Like we saw him put a pace on Billy Q in that fight that he had to move the entire time. Like he had a guy in his face and won rather easily. I mean, Gavin Tucker went 2.5 with fucking a guy that Brad said wouldn't even be in the UFC if it wasn't for fucking COVID right now. And I agree. Like James would not be in the UFC if it wasn't for COVID right now. Yeah, I like Billy Q here. That line Sean got was madness. I haven't been able to look at a lot over the past week or so. If I would have caught that would have been one of my biggest bets on this card probably. I think Billy Q just puts it on Tucker here, man. I don't think Tucker's going to be able to deal with his pace for 15 minutes. So yeah, plus 105. I'm still going to play Billy Q with something. I haven't made but a couple bets so far, but yeah, Billy Q big for me in this fight.
All right, Andrew, I've got another Canadian restaurant reference for you. How do you think Tucker's marketplace has fared during these quarantine times?
It's out of business.
It's pretty accurate because it's a buffet restaurant. So
That shit's an only Ontario thing. That's not even a Canadian thing. I've never even heard
that's
of that.
fair. Ontario is Canada.
See, here's where Americans and Canadians differ. It's like when the Golden Corral opens back up, motherfuckers are gonna have it packed. They will be at the door,
The rafters.
going back to the Golden Corral. They don't give a fuck. They do it right now.
Yeah, they would. It would be packed right now. Not even a question. What were the notes here?
Okay, well, I mean, the notes aren't that important here. I just kind of did a lot of and whatevers because I read that he lost to Tucker lost to Rick Glenn, and I was like, well, that's not a great sign, and it wasn't even that long ago.
Life changing.
And then I wrote for Billy Q. I said, like, he seems really good just by looking at his record because he has a pretty long he has a pretty good record. He has a streak going, and then he's also finishing like almost everybody too, which is it's a good sign. And it just like his record popped out to me. I couldn't picture either one of these guys when I saw the names, and I'm not doing tape study. That's not happening. So, that's all I get. So I pick Billy Q from that alone.
Yeah. Just to talk about Rick Glenn for a second, because I think it's important to note that Rick Glenn went like 1-2 in the UFC after he absolutely destroyed every fiber of Gavin Tucker's being. Is he retired? Oh, he has a fight coming up, doesn't he? He's fighting next week.
That's how much Rick Glenn matters. Brad's like, is this guy retired? No, he's fighting next week.
But that's
oh my god,
that's not a dude that you want to beat the shit out of you, because Rick Glenn he's been to decision in every fight since the start of his career. All I can remember of Rick Glenn fights is them going an extremely long time, and he absolutely beat the shit out of Gavin Tucker. And he's, I guess, recovered with a couple of wins against very bad fighters since then, but he's not good defensively. Maybe he can get a takedown or two in this fight, but as Sean and Wes said, Billy's just going to put such a pace on him that he looks great and gets third round finishes in fights where guys gas after a round, and he can just really take over. In this fight, Billy's not getting out of here. He's not getting rid of Billy early in this fight, and Billy's just going to keep coming after him. So I've got Billy to win this fight. I got not quite as good a line as Sean. I got -110. Still way better than what's out there. They're actually, usually books don't do this, but they're actually willing to cash me out at a bit of a profit before the fight's even taken place. So that's always a good sign. But yeah, I like Billy in this one quite a bit, and we'll see how it turns out. But a lot of the spots where Spike was able to just muscle Billy around, I don't think that Gavin Tucker's got that in him.
No.
Next up, what's this division called again? Strawweight?
Correct.
Or like, I don't know. I got nothing that rhymes with straw, but it's boring. Mackenzie Dern taking on Vina Jandiroba. Wes, you want to break this one down?
I don't have too much. I guess you got to take Dern in this spot. I think this fight could go under. I think somebody's gonna catch something on the mat. They're gonna get around and do dumb shit on the mat. Dern probably. I guess she's a better jiu-jitsu player than this chick, but I think one of them probably get caught in something. We've seen so many women's fights. These dumb subs and shit are happening now. I think these two are actually halfway competent on the mat. So yeah, I kind of like the under at some plus money here. I'll probably have a small play on it. Dern to be a pick. Really don't care.
Ever the optimist, Wes. Sean, what do you got here?
See, I like the opposite for the exact reason you said, Wes. I mean, I didn't play the over, but these girls are actual competent jiu-jitsu fighters to the point where they can defend themselves from decent jiu-jitsu. I kind of understand this line. Dern's the name. I think Jandiroba is gonna go for takedowns, which she'll get, and then you're in Mackenzie Dern's guard. I think Jandiroba can fight off those subs, and if she has top control, I think she can win a decision. I don't like it too big, but I threw it a unit on Jandiroba by decision at plus 240. I think that's her best path, just because of Dern's is good jiu-jitsu. But I think that top control, as long as she doesn't get subbed, which it is possible, but I like her sub game, and I think she's gonna be on top for most of this fight. So I'll take the shot.
I think you're clinching for a lot of fucking time in this fight. They're gonna be scrambling, and you're gonna be clinching.
That's fine.
Andrew,
Makes it more exciting.
give me the real take on this fight.
All right, the real take on this. I think Dern's gonna win. I mean, the reason why I think so is because like her loss, I don't think it was that bad. It was right after she came back from pregnancy, right? Am I thinking of the right person? Like she got pregnant and then came right back, and then like and she got
and fought
she
an actual
lost.
decent fighter.
Yeah, she fought a decent fighter. That's the thing. So she's only lost to someone who I think is pretty good within the division, and has fought okay people and won. Is it like I kind of like what Wes is saying for sure, just because there's so many subs on both of their records. I was like, and a lot of them are really, really early, especially for Dern. So I was, I pick Dern, but I wouldn't be surprised if either one of them subbed the other.
I'm with Sean on this one. We've talked about it way too long. But yeah, you've actually got a competent grappler in there with Dern. And let's not forget, she is not great at taking fights to the ground. So this is probably only going to end up on the ground if Vina Jandiroba wants to take it down there. And I feel like, I don't know, at some point, there's going to be someone that fights Mackenzie Dern and is not stupid enough to go to the ground with her. We'll see eventually. I don't have quite as much faith in Sean that it's going to go the distance, but I do have the over 1.5 at minus 250 in a parlay with some Spivak, and I forget what the other thing was. I'll pull it up at some point in the show, but I don't think we've got past that fight yet. Next up, we have a featherweight contest.
This is fun.
This is a good one. Cub Swanson coming back one more time for the old bear. He's gonna have to change his first name from Cub because that ain't no Cub anymore. What's his actual first name? It's like Luke or something. It's something stupid. Mook Swanson. Somebody look it up for me. But he's taking on Daniel the Pit Pineda. Or Kevin. Okay, Kevin.
Plain old kid.
Kevin Luke.
Kevin Luke. There you go. See? I knew I wasn't pulling that out of nowhere. He's taking on Daniel the Pit Pineda, or as I like to call him, Mexican Jake Shields. Doesn't fight the same, but you put a picture of those two guys beside each other. I'm telling you, one of them has a white dad and one of them has a Mexican dad. Sean, what do you got here?
I think this is going to be a fun fight. I think Daniel Pineda just forces action. I think this is just going to be kind of a brawl. Swanson has been subbed a bunch, so he could go that route. I kind of have a feeling that Pineda might grab a TKO. I know Cub's only been finished once by TKO with the flying knee from Aldo, but he's got beat up a shit ton. He is getting old. He's coming off a year-long layoff after beating Kron, but I like Pineda in this fight. I just didn't want to lay it with him, so I was trying to find a prop, and I landed on TKO plus 800 for half a unit.
Not bad. Wes, I'm going to skip over you for a second. I know that Andrew has some things to say about Cub Swanson and Daniel Pineda.
Yeah, I actually do. I think Cub might actually be a good underdog pick because like the guys he's lost to are all really really good, and I mean probably the worst loss he had was like Aldo recently, just because he'd been declining. But I don't know. I mean, he seems like he only loses to the really 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 good guys, and I know he's lost like a lot of his kind of like power, explosiveness, and that kind of stuff, and he just goes to decision all the time. And Pineda definitely has more ways to win. I still think Swanson still has a really good shot at this.
There you go, Wesley.
Yeah, it's wild. I kind of think of Pineda as more the younger guy here. Like they're only a couple years apart, but Cubs he's at 37 now, and man, has he been around for a long, long time. And Pineda has too, though. Like Pineda's been around this game for quite a while. He just doesn't seem like he's been in the same kind of fights that Cub has over the past decade or so. Cub's got like a couple wins in the past like 3 years, and it's Artem, the Flobov, and I mean the Kron win was a good win, but man, I think hindsight of that fight, it kind of played out perfectly for Cub. I mean, Kron was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time, man. That whole deal got to him. That was not the same guy that we had seen coming in that fight. He was a deer in headlights in that fight. Good win for Cub though, no doubt. I'm not convinced, man, a 37-year-old Cub can beat Daniel Pineda here. Do I hate an underdog bet on Cub? I guess not. I would just need a much bigger number. Personally, I like Pineda here. I actually think Pineda can get a sub in this spot is kind of how I'm leaning. I think Pineda does seem to end up on the mat quite a bit. He doesn't have the greatest takedown defense, but man, is he active off of his back and in his guard. And Cub's not the greatest jiu-jitsu guy or anything, but he'll take a guy down and get in his guard and fuck around a little bit. So it's kind of how I'm leaning. I do think Pineda wins this fight. I think it can be kind of close in spots, but I just got a feeling that Cub's going to get a takedown here and mess around in Pineda's guard and get caught in something. That's got a feeling. So I like Pineda by sub.
Yeah, I find this one a little bit tricky, and I'm probably going to stay away from it because in terms of sides, like I've been watching Daniel Pineda for too long to be tricked into thinking that he's good. He's fun, but he's not great. And at the same time, Cub is like he looks like he's shot. And now he's coming off a completely torn knee, year layoff, 37 years old. So it's hard to back him here as well. And at the same time, you can't even do like the under 2.5 thing that we did in the Smolka bet or the Smolka fight last week, because if Cub wins, I don't see him really getting Pineda out of there.
He's just all day, yeah.
Yeah, and if Pineda wins, he probably gets Cub out of there. So I don't love a total. I don't love a side on this. I'll pick Pineda, but would it shock me if Cub can get some takedowns and stay on top and not get subbed? Not really. So we'll see. But it should be a good fight. It's just one that I don't have any interest in betting. Moving up to the main card, we're going to kick it off in the heavyweight division. These aren't the kind of heavyweights that I like, though. These guys are a little too in shape to be my kind of heavyweights. We got the former champion, JDS, many years removed from being the champion. But hey, so is Andrei Arlovsky. And he's taken on Cyril Gane. Sean, what do we got here?
These are the spots that I used to like to take the underdog, the big underdog veteran against the kind of a little more unproven up-and-comer. But Dos Santos, he might be winning this fight until he's not. And then he gets clipped and it's over. I thought he was doing well in the Rosenstruck fight, and then
he wasn't.
He got touched. And I don't think it's just a huge power thing. I think it's just that chin is there to be had, and his skills can only protect him for so long. I think Gane gets it. Like I said, JDS might be winning up until that point, and then it's over. So I'm passing. I don't really like anything involved in this fight. Can hope for a JDS win, but I think the inevitable is going to happen.
Andrew, I know you know who JDS is. Have you ever heard of Cyril Gane?
No. And I kind of don't think it matters because I feel like what Sean said was kind of how I feel about it, because I actually did do a little bit of actual research into this instead of just surface level Sherdog stuff. And like, it's just so hard for JDS to back him. I mean, I know the number looks like insane too, and I love JDS, so like it's coming from pure fanboying out that I'm gonna pick him. But I mean I don't think he's long for this world. He's gonna be asleep, I think. So we'll see.
This might be the last time we see him, if it's good for him.
Yeah. Sean made a point about Arlovsky, and the difference here is somehow Arlovsky can take punches again. Like Arlovsky gets clocked now for some reason, and he doesn't go to sleep anymore. His recovery is there. I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened to Arlovsky. If they shipped him to Russia and they put some bionic shit in his jaw, I don't know, man. But that guy can take a punch again. JDS, like, what was so great about JDS is his boxing and hands were so much better than everybody else's. He would get in firefights because he knew that he would eventually land a couple. He could take one or two. He was going to land and get a guy out of there eventually. He can't do that no more, but he still gets in those firefights. He still got good hands. He still thinks he's got, great hands. He does for the most part, but that chin's gone, man. The first good punch he takes in an exchange, he's hurt. That's the crazy thing about Arlovsky. That should be Arlovsky. I don't know how that guy keeps surviving. I keep losing money on him, or against him, but I like Gane here. Either inside the distance or by TKO. I think TKO is like minus 125, 130 or something. I think he gets JDS out of there. I think he might have caught a sub at a crazy price like a couple years ago. I don't see that happening on JDS whatsoever. So probably just going to take the TKO here. Believe it, minus 125.
Yeah, I wish that I could back JDS in this one, but I mean, this dude had one of the most brutal runs that any fighter has ever had in MMA. And not even talking about like his whole career. He just had like that sequence where he fought Kane and took a beating. And then he fought Mark Hunt in a super competitive fight where like eventually he got that sweet knockout, but there was shit going back and forth in both ways in that fight. And then he fought Kane again and took an even worse beating. And we all thought he was done at that point. Fought Stipe and went like 5 rounds in a super competitive fight where they both took a shitload of punishment. And I just, like, ever since then, every time he's lost, he's been knocked out. And, you can say he's getting knocked out by big hitters, but he's also getting knocked out every time he loses. So I'm not sure how much of it is the big hitters and how much of it is him just being kind of washed in the shit.
This
Yeah.
is both here.
So it's tough. His skills are enough for him to hang around against most guys, and Gane isn't super aggressive. So I kind of think that this one sneaks into Fatty's territory, and that's a decent price. You can get -120 on the over 1.5 here. I think that happens, and honestly, I wouldn't be shocked to see Gane get some takedowns and lay on top of him for a little bit, because really, I know this dude has some hype, but he's 2020 Czech Congo. He's Czech Congo, but with some more shit that he can do.
Yeah, he's not some like great heavyweight or anything.
He's not out there crushing guys. He'll win a decisive decision. And maybe he'll put away Don'Tale Mays with like 15 seconds left in the fight. But he's not blowing guys out. So I think over 1.5 here, maybe gone by decision, but it's hard to trust it getting a full 15 minutes with the way JDS is these days.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Middleweight division, we got another old dude, old awesome dude.
Yeah.
Jacare, Garage Ray, taking on Kevin Holland. Did you guys know?
Unchanged, baby.
Did you know that Jacare is training in a garage for this one? Wes, I'm going to go to you, and then I'm going to go to Andrew, and then I'm going to go to Sean. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to go to the bathroom and get another beer.
Yeah, apparently the game done changed. Apparently our boy Jacare is going by the way of his countrymen, and he's going to the garage like Glover, and we know Glover is on the cusp of becoming a UFC fucking champion in this sport. So, yeah, I mean, all seriousness here, look, Jacare is getting old. He's getting up there, but he's got a path here. He's got an absolute path. Look, Holland can't stop a takedown. Like, if that guy can stay at range and piece you up, he's fucking awesome. Like he's great. But if he can get Jacare out of there fairly soon, we saw the gas tank on him against who was it a couple back? Stewart, I believe. Like, yep. we saw the gas tank on Holland. It's not great. He throws a lot of volume. He throws a lot of strikes that use up energy, high energy strikes and shit, big stuff. So I just think Jacare can get takedowns in this fight. And if you think Jacare can get takedowns in this fight, then you got to think Jacare's got a chance of getting Holland out of there. And that's absolutely what I believe. I think Jacare's gonna get a takedown, and it might only take one. Holland's okay, I guess, jiu-jitsu defense off of his back, but he's never fought anybody at the level of Jacare. So yeah, I like Jacare in this spot. I didn't get the best of the line. I believe he was an underdog for a while. But I still think it's a good price at around even money, -110. I like Jacare here.
Right on. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing for you, Wes, but I agree with you in a lot of ways. And so when I was thinking about this, I thought, the first note that I put when I was writing about Jacare, and I don't really have to put this as a note, was that he's shot. I mean, he's basically done being a top guy, but he's still so dangerous everywhere he is. He even has, even if he's getting pieced up on the feet, he can catch lightning in a bottle. He's done it before and knocked a guy out with just one shot. It's happened before. He does still have that power. You never know if it's going to show up or not. It probably won't, but it's still a potential avenue. And then if it gets on the floor, it's going to be a bloodbath, I think. I don't really see how Holland is going to be able to stop him. And so I think Jacare can win basically by TKO, by sub, and I think he can win decision by being on top. And Holland, I think, has less ways to win, and he just kind of has a so-so resume, I guess. So I just don't know if he's ready for this kind of step up. So that's what I have. I have Jacare.
Yeah, when I looked in this fight, it felt like a stay away fight. I think both of these guys have some question marks attached to them. Jacare in that Jan Blachowicz fight just seemed like he just couldn't pull the trigger. And we talk about that's one of the ways that we see when guys are shot. They just won't pull the trigger for whatever reason. He is 41 years old now. He has been in some wars. Kevin Holland is also, he probably lost that Darren Stewart fight. Has been beating up a bunch of randoms that shouldn't be on the UFC roster. Like, big question marks on both sides. Anybody who grabbed the dog money on Jacare, I think that's a good play. I do think it's a close fight. My sketchy Russian book has Jacare sub plus 500.
I mean, you gotta sprinkle that.
I put a half a unit on it and I just looked it up. So I guess I'm not completely staying away from this fight. You got it. At that price I had to, especially when the number at most books is around plus 200, plus 250. I do think it's going to be a close fight. Holland's got a 9-inch reach advantage, which can be sketchy if he knows how to use it. Jacare's been in there with the best, so this is going to be a test for Holland, and I hope Jacare goes for takedowns. He has not really committed to takedowns in a long time. He's back at 185. We'll see how rough that weight cut is, but I really do hope he goes for takedowns, because I think if he does get this down, he has a big advantage on the ground and could lock up a sub.
So, quick recap of what I missed. Wes, what do you like here?
Jacare by sub.
Andrew, you said you were like kind of staying away. You seemed a little hesitant.
Well, I pick Jacare, but I mean, there's definitely ways for both guys to win.
And Sean's lock of the night is Jacare by sub. That's what I got out of his portion. Ugh. Man, I think people need a reminder of who Kevin Holland is. Before 2020 happened, every time there was a Kevin Holland fight, we were like, oh man, this dude constantly puts himself in bad positions. He'll get taken down by guys who don't know how to wrestle. He'll let himself get held up against the cage. Man, he's got this length advantage. Why the hell isn't he using it? Holland, I think, is about as perfect an example of a guy being hyped up due to COVID and fighting terrible opponents as there can be. The fact that Jacare was plus 150 against this guy earlier this week or late last week or whenever it was, I grabbed some of the plus 140. Obviously, the line's not really there, although I feel like it's settled around even money for Jacare, and honestly, that feels like a great price to me. Even though he's 41, and he's looked a little hesitant in there against guys who are high volume, like Hermansson, who it turns out doesn't have a terrible gas tank, and his last fight, he went to a split decision against the light heavyweight champion, the fake light heavyweight champion. But still, a top 5 light heavyweight, that's pretty good. And I looked it up on the MMA Decisions site just a couple days ago, but I'm pretty sure if you just take the scorecards for the first 3 rounds of that Blachowicz fight, he would have won that fight. So he doesn't have to be a 41-year-old man going 25 minutes in this fight against a big-ass 205er. He's got to be a 41-year-old man going 15 minutes, maybe, against Kevin Holland, who got taken down a bunch of times by way shittier wrestlers than Jacare. And, it kind of gets overlooked because there's dudes like YOLO in the middleweight division, but Jacare is kind of a freak athlete too. This dude is extremely strong, extremely quick. And even if that's faded a little bit, I think he's still a better athlete than Kevin Holland, who's just like a long, lanky, goofy motherfucker. So I think that Jacare can get some takedowns here, or maybe just one takedown, and that might be enough. But even if he doesn't finish him with the first takedown, I think he can get a couple. And I think he can either ride out a decision or get an early sub in this one, because Holland's grappling is all right, but he's so willing to accept bad positions that Jacare's a guy that he could be 50 years old and he could still out-grapple all but like maybe the top 5 of the middleweight division. He's that good on the ground. So I like Jacare here. I took him at plus 140. Wish I got more, but given when that line was available, the limits weren't too much. So you got to take what you can take. Next up in the lightweight division, we have Rafael Soda Popinski, Fizzy Pop, taking on Renato Moicano. And we'll go back. I think we went West first last time, so we'll go Sean first this time.
I was a bit surprised by this line. I thought it would be a little shaded more to Moicano being the favorite. I know some people are hyped up on old Fizzy Pop. He does some spinning shit, and he honestly looked pretty good against Diakisi last time out. I was on Diakisi there and lost, but Moicano is still a very good fighter. I know he lost to Aldo and Korean Zombie and got finished by them. Those guys aren't bad. Then he came and just absolutely dummied Hadzovic in March to when he moved up to lightweight. So I think Moicano is a good fighter, and he can contend on the feet, and I think he's got a better ground game than this guy if he does get it to the ground. So I like him to win. I'm surprised by the line, surprised by the line movement. It's up to like plus 140 now. I just got a unit on Moicano at plus 125. I think he can win a striking match and mix in some takedowns.
Andrew.
Out of all the fighters that I picked who are underdogs, I think I like this pick probably the second most. I don't really understand why this other dude, Fizzy Pop, is I don't understand what brings him to have such a close line. And when I saw the fight just listed without the betting lines, and I was like, oh, Moicano's probably like minus 250 or something. And then I looked at it and was very surprised. So, Moicano's still really good. And I think that win over, I don't remember how you pronounce his name, Qatar, whatever. Like that win or whatever, Cater. Yeah, that's right. So that win looks even better now, I think. And he has a really solid resume. So, like, it's really hard to pick against him in this spot, in my opinion, at least. I'm dumb, though, so you never know.
Cater's definitely a different guy at this point, but that's still a very nice win on his resume because Cater is a legitimate title contender at this point in that division. Look, I like Fizzy Pop. I actually think he's a pretty good fighter. It was a good win against Diakisi, but Diakisi just did Diakisi things in that fucking fight. I mean, some fights he looks like otherworldly kickboxing striker, taking guys out, and other times he just shrinks. He backs up. He doesn't throw strikes. I'm not sure Moicano is gonna be that guy here. Moicano uses his length so much better than Diakisi does, and that's why I bet Diakisi in that fight. I just thought he could use his length and outstrike the old Fizzy Pop here, but I think that's what Moicano does. I think people's kind of underselling him, man. Yeah, he got knocked out or got taken out by two of the best in the division, and this guy doesn't hit like fucking Korean Zombie or Auto. He doesn't hit with power like that. He's more of a volume striker. I just don't think that's going to work against Moicano. Moicano, like I said, uses his length very good. It's going to be a second fight up at 55. He's already got the body type to fill out and not be undersized at all at 55. He's probably going to be the bigger guy in this fight, even moving up to 155. I just think this is kind of going to be a stand-up fight, and he can use his length to counterpunch and look pretty good. I don't get the price either. I don't know if I would go as far as Moicano minus 250 or anything, but I like Fizzy Pop a little bit though. I've seen him fight. I thought the Diakisi win was a pretty good win for him, but like I said, this line is not right. Moicano should not be a dog here. If he loses a close striking match and a decision, then so be it. I'm taking plus 140 all day here. So yeah, I like Moicano.
Yeah, this is a crazy pills moment for me. Because I look at this line and like I think about Fizzy Pop, and he's got a couple wins in the UFC. Like, congratulations, you beat the shit out of Alex White for 10 minutes, and then had a pretty competitive third round with Alex White. And then, yeah, you beat the shit out of Diakisi for 5 minutes, and then won the second round pretty clearly, and then probably lost the third round in that fight. So I think he's one of those guys that probably throws a little bit harder than he should. It seems like he definitely slows down a bit in the fight. And we've seen that if he needs to, Moicano can definitely go 15 minutes, take away the cut down to featherweight, because he was massive featherweight. Like, go back and look at his fight against Aldo, and like that looks like a bantamweight against a lightweight in that fight. It's just that he happened to be fighting, one of the greatest fighters of all time in that fight. So I don't know, man. I just see like a guy who throws some hard body kicks against guys that have stood right in front of him, and a guy who is willing to move around a lot and throw leg kicks and poke with his jab. And that's not even considering the fact that if this goes to the ground, Moicano is going to have a huge advantage. So I hear people out there talking about how if this stays on the feet, that Moicano you might as well put him in a body bag right now. And honestly, I could see some serious Jeremy Stevens, Moicano vibes out of this fight, where Stevens is charging forward and Moicano is just moving out of the way and leg kicking him and jabbing him, and Fizzy Pop's getting real frustrated.
Got a good counter hook too. That might put Fizzy Pop down. Like,
yeah,
I really think that it's that
more. So
that's crazy, man.
But yeah, the line here I just think is silly. You've got one guy that's beaten some low to mediocre level lightweights, and a guy who has only lost to the absolutely elite featherweights and now has moved up to lightweight. I've got to take the guy that's shown more. So I'm on Moicano. I got him at plus 131, and I'm glad I only took it for a unit. I thought that the line would even out a little bit, but man, it just seems to keep going in Fizzy Pop's direction. I feel like at this point, I've got a Chuck on the end of my name. You could throw me into a UFC fight tomorrow, and I'd probably be a minus 250. Just, they'd be like, oh man, that guy sounds Russian. He's got to be. So shit. We all like Moicano in this spot, and I believe that makes him the MMA analysis consensus bet of the week. There's various prices out there right now.
Plus 140.
We'll give the 5 dimes one, because that's what we always used to give. Plus 140 for Renato Moicano to get the win in this spot. Moving up to the co-main event, and what a co-main event we have.
God, this is a fight.
Because we've got Tony the Cuck Ferguson taking on Do Bronx.
That's El Cuck, buddy.
No, it's the Cuck. It's El Cucuy in Mexican, but you translate it to English, American English.
American.
And it's the Cuck. Tony the Cuck Ferguson.
Fair.
Wesley, start us off in this one. A banger.
Yeah, this is an amazing fight. I'm glad we've gotten back to the point to where our boy Do Bronx can get a fight like this, and we can get past all the bullshit from a few years ago about Do Bronx. This guy's turned into something else, man. Like he really has. The sub game speaks for itself. I believe he's the record holder in UFC history now for subs, which is unbelievable. But I want to talk about the striking of Do Bronx because it's improved just crazily. I mean, we talk about a few other Brazilians that have the jiu-jitsu credentials of a guy like Do Bronx, and we talk about Pedro Munoz and guys like that have just improved their boxing and striking so much to where they primarily use that. I won't go that far with Do Bronx, but it's just another facet now that, man, you're not going to necessarily have an easy out if you keep it on the feet with him. With Tony, like Tony's 36 now, man. And I think a fight like the one he had last time, it changed his career. I absolutely believe fights like that later on in your career, they change you. He's not going to be the same guy coming into this fight. I don't think it's like some blowout for Do Bronx or anything, but look, Tony gets into bad spots. Even Tony at his best gets into countless bad spots. He's not going to be able to roll around on the mat and shit with Do Bronx like he does with a lot of these guys. Like Tony's wrestling and scrambles, they're still so fucking good, but do you want to count on that against a guy like this that can snatch up a neck out of nowhere? Like, I wouldn't. Tony's going to. He's going to. This shit's gonna get nuts. He's gonna be rolling around. He's gonna put himself in bad spots. Then when it's just in striking, I don't think Do Bronx is so far, over his head here. I mean, like I said, I think he's gotten good enough to where he's going to be able to hold his own. Man, I like Do Bronx as an underdog. It's kind of crazy to say that. I think maybe before the Gaethje fight, getting Tony at a line like this against anybody outside of maybe Khabib, you'd be all over it. I just don't think that's the case anymore, man. I really think that changed. That last fight against Gaethje changed him. 36, like I said. Now Do Bronx has got a couple ways to win this fight. I like him here as a dog, man. I think you got to take him here at that price. If Tony pulls something out, he does. I don't see it anymore, man. I think that was the down slope of Tony's career coming out of that Gaethje fight.
Andrew, I know you know some Tony Ferg and some Do Bronx.
Yeah, what a sick fight this is. Holy shit, man. When I saw that was announced, I literally had to look down and then look back and get close to the computer and be like, because I never in a million years thought they were going to give Do Bronx whatever, in a fight like this. Right. I never thought they were going to give him a fight like this at all, and they did, and it's the perfect time. Tony's coming off that insanely difficult fight, took a huge beating. It also has to be deflating that he never did get that real shot too. And I don't care how people say, oh, he's crazy and he does all this stuff, and he has this personality that he just doesn't care and he's on another planet, but it had to have affected him in some way. And I'm not saying it's going to manifest itself in this fight. I just think it's a perfect timing for Do Bronx to show up. And I think he's dangerous everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a TKO finish. Definitely wouldn't be surprised if there was a sub. But I also think he can win a decision kind of crazily. I think there's so many ways for him to win. I think Tony is much less likely to finish the fight as well. and he just takes a lot of damage. He comes in and he leaves his chin out, and he's doing wild things, and he gets clipped a lot, and he's relied on that iron chin for so long. And at some point, that shit's going to crack. And both these guys hit hard, so, I could see either one of them putting him down on the feet. But, it's I think it's just tough, and it's just the right opportunity at the right time. And I think, obviously, what Wes said, a little bit ago before the Gaethje fight, it would be hard to not pick Tony. I just think timing is such an important part in people's careers like this. And that's why they always talk about bringing along prospects slowly and how important that is to the real prospects development. And it's also manifests itself in smaller ways like this too. It's the perfect time. I think if I had to pick, I would pick Sub, but I think he can win in any of the three ways. So I'm picking Do Bronx definitely.
Sean, what you got here?
Yeah, I don't have much more to say. I think you guys broke this down really, really well. I do think it's kind of a perfect timing thing. Like you said, Andrew, Tony's kind of always been hit. He's been dropped a shit ton of times, and he just kind of overcomes. And now he got a very, very long, sustaining beating from Gaethje. He's getting old. Do Bronx has just improved so much in the last couple of years. I know he wasn't fighting the best people. They weren't really giving him much a chance to fight upper echelon fighters, but as we saw in that Kevin Lee fight, this dude is dangerous wherever this is. I agree. I think he can win any way, sub, TKO, or decision. I like him here. I think he's just a fresher fighter. Very good matchup. They match up very well stylistically. I wouldn't be surprised to see Do Bronx clip him and grab a neck or just try to pound him out. So I like Do Bronx here. 2 units plus 130.
Andrew, hop back in.
Yeah, the one thing I forgot to mention too about it is I would feel just slightly different if this was a 5-round fight versus a 3-round fight. Just slightly. I think it would be more evenish. Close to even, just because if there wasn't a finish in a 5-round, I would definitely think that would favor Tony a little bit. That's all.
Yep, just because we've seen him go 5 ridiculous rounds and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a good call.
Absolutely, I think you guys are dead on here. Tony had an incredible run, absolutely legendary run at lightweight. And all the way up, he fought, relatively tough guys for the level that he was at. Like Gleison Tebow was a tough fight at the time. He put him away, and then he went on to Josh Thompson, Barbosa. The Venata one was weird, but he got rocked real bad in that one. But then once he won the title, he stopped being so active. And I think that's where we really saw sort of the peak of his abilities, because he beat Dos Anjos. He won the title in that fight.
Injuries, didn't he? Didn't he have some knees and shit in there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this dude does so much stupid shit.
Yeah.
I think he had a year off between the Dos Anjos fight and the Lee fight, and then a year off between the Lee fight and the Pettis fight.
The knee surgeries and shit, and then would come back from the knee surgeries and be on like a ball with a sledgehammer off a knee surgery.
Yeah, just you can tell that this is a person who, well, he was simultaneously built to be a fighter. He also needs a coach to rein him in, because without a coach, he just does all the stupidest shit imaginable. Like, this dude's probably doing backflips into spike pits and shit just to see what it feels like.
He was at a trampoline park yesterday. Swear to God, he was on Instagram and said he's at a trampoline park doing flips into a
dude. If Spikeball was still on TNN or Spike TV, he would be playing some slam ball and
Yep.
Being the defender, trying to go after dudes on the trampolines. But Ferguson's just absolutely nuts. And I think that's going to work to his detriment in this fight, because now he's finally in there against a guy who Do Bronx just does the same thing that Ferguson does, but he's cleaner with everything he does. Like Ferguson has never had clean striking. Do Bronx over the last couple years has developed clean striking. Like he's going to fire straight punches down the pipe. He's going to fire knees up right in the middle that are probably going to catch Tony, who's like ducking down and doing all sorts of weird shit on the feet. So if Tony can't absolutely overwhelm him with pace, and I don't think he can because he gets caught in all of his fights, he's going to be in trouble because he's going to get clipped. Maybe he goes for a takedown. Maybe he just tries to keep swinging and keeps getting clipped. But he's got a couple of paths in this fight. One, he can keep it on the feet and just keep getting pieced up. Two, he can take it to the ground and he can get the absolute life choked out of him. that's what Do Bronx going to do.
That's what's going to happen.
I actually don't agree or don't disagree that Do Bronx can win in any of the three ways in this fight. He could TKO him. I think that's the least likely, just because I think Tony's probably still durable. Like he took shit from Gaethje before that fight finally got stopped. I think he could sub him because I think he can sub anybody. But I actually think that like plus 500 or whatever it is on decision is probably the best value of the props in this fight. Just because I feel like that happens just as likely as a finish happens in this fight. So as much as, we try and be homers and we want to say that Do Bronx just going to like squeeze a dude's head off his body, I think he's probably going to win a decision here, but at any rate, because he's got chances to win everywhere, Do Bronx is the Munich Bet of the week. And it's not just a regular Munich. we got Daniel Craig. He's on board with this Munich. Eric Bana is on board with this Munich. We got the 1972 IOC is on board with Munich this week. This is one for the ages, ladies and gentlemen, because Do Bronx going to get it done. And that brings us to the main event of the evening. As we said a couple minutes ago, which is almost a couple hours ago at this point, we got Deiveson Figueiredo. He's headlining his second pay-per-view in a row, which, I mean, I guess that's impressive, but when I get to my breakdown, I'm going to drop some knowledge on these fools. And he is taking on a man whose nickname I have never understood. If you watch Always Sunny, it always reminds me of when Charlie goes into like the underground fighting tournament and he's like, I'm not going to be the baby clown. I'm going to be the clown baby. That's going to fuck with them. But he's taking on the clown baby, Brandon Moreno. Who's starting? Andrew, you start off on this one.
I honestly don't have a lot to say about this fight. I like both the guys, and I think they're exciting, but I don't feel like I have any particular insight. I'm not super knowledgeable about 125ers in general, I would say. But I do think I would like to see Moreno win, but I think Figueiredo will win.
Wesley, moving on to you.
I still can't bring myself to be the Figueiredo hype man like everybody is, and I like the small fighters, man. I don't know what it is, man. It just something doesn't do it for me about Figueiredo, but I don't see it out of Moreno, man. Moreno's a good story. He's definitely improved a lot since he came back or from leaving and coming back to the UFC. I just think we just talked about Tony puts himself in a lot of bad spots and shit. Moreno does too. Moreno gets into a lot of crazy spots and stuff. Just don't think Figueiredo's the guy you want to do that with. Kind of like Figueiredo by sub here again. I think they're gonna get in a scramble and Figueiredo's gonna end up grabbing something, or Figueiredo catches him with a strike. Figueiredo does hit with a little bit of power. lean sub because Moreno does have a good chin. Moreno's taking some serious shots. I don't think Moreno's the guy to beat Figueiredo at this point. I actually personally gave Perez a better shot at beating Figueiredo. I thought Perez had some punching power and shit that could have gave Figueiredo some problems. And I really, really wish that fight would have went a little longer. I know Figueiredo did catch him and stuff, but won't say that Perez was going to win that fight, but he looked okay in the short amount of time that we got to see him before he did some dumb shit and got caught. And that's I think Perez is a better fighter than Moreno personally, and I don't think Moreno's the guy to beat Figueiredo. So yeah, I think Figueiredo gets him out there, and I lean by sub.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even think that Perez did anything wrong in that spot. I think that was just a pretty sweet move by Figueiredo. So I don't hold anything against Perez for that one. Sean, what do you got here? Give me something.
I'll be honest, I don't have much on this one either. I don't know why that is. I don't know. I just don't have a good read on Brandon Moreno. The dude is tough. He's never been finished, so I think this is going to be a good test for Figueiredo if he's going to be able to get him out of there. And Figueiredo's kind of just a wild man, and it's tough to know exactly what he's going to do, whether he knocks you out or chokes you out. I think Figueiredo's going to win. I think he's the better fighter. Moreno, he had a really good year. I think he won. I think was he an underdog against Formiga?
He arguably lost one of those fights this year, though. Yeah,
and so I don't really, like I said, I don't have a good read on this fight. I think Figueiredo wins. He just seems to be streaking right now. He's got supreme confidence, and he just brings things at flyweight that a lot of fighters don't have, and I don't think Brandon Moreno's been matched up with a guy quite like him. So not sure how he does it. He probably does it inside the distance, but the pick is Figueiredo. But no bet on this fight. Couldn't really find an angle any which way.
Our boy Steve's got the name for Moreno. He's the fucking Manuel McLovin. like a fucking McLovin.
Manuel McLovin, absolutely
Beautiful.
Yeah, nothing makes me sadder than Formiga losing kind of a bullshit decision against Moreno, and then getting calf kicked by Alex Perez, and then getting cut by the UFC. That's pretty awful. As far as this fight goes, it's tough to find a bet here. It really is. I think they just about nailed it, because, man, Moreno is terrible on defense. His defense is atrocious. This guy gets hit by everything. And if you're a semi-competent striker, you can just stick up your left hand and you can block his looping right. And you can stick up your right hand and you can block his left high kick, and he doesn't have anything on the feet. So then it turns into he has to win this by out wrestling Figueiredo for 5 rounds without getting caught in something. And I don't think that's going to happen, because really the most realistic path for him to win this fight is to have a shitload of pace and really pile up strikes and overwhelm Figueiredo. And I think when he tries to do that, he's so wild that he is going to leave himself open and he's going to get clipped by something. So I feel like it's probably going to be a Figueiredo knockout in this fight, but that's lined at plus 140. The sub is under plus 300 in this fight. Inside the distance, you got to pay a decent amount of juice on to get that. Even if you think that Moreno survives everything and can win rounds 3, 4, 5, which I don't necessarily think is the case, because even when Figueiredo's not finishing guys, he's still winning rounds because of the shots that he lands. So I don't know what Figueiredo is by decision. but
Do we
like
have points yet?
maybe
no points handicap yet. Figueiredo by decisions plus 430.
Yeah, even that's like not high enough
Not huge,
for me to want to
considering
take
what
a
he
shot,
has.
especially a 5-rounder. So
Minus 300.
I don't love any bets on this either.
Kind of sucks.
Yeah, because like even if you look at an over 2.5 or something like that, I could see Figueiredo getting it done faster than that. So I don't know. There's nothing for me here other than hopefully this is an awesome fight and we get a little bit more time out of it than we did out of the Fig and Perez fight. But I'm going to stay away from this one. I'm an absolute degenerate, and I've got enough bets on all the rest of the fights that are going on this weekend. So, yeah, I don't need to really worry about putting a little bit extra on the main event because it's a fight that I actually want to see anyway. Yeah. So that caps us off for our UFC 256 breakdown. We took a while tonight, but I feel like we got a pretty fun show in. Andrew, parting words for the folks. Let's see what you got.
Well, hey, first, thanks for listening. I mean, that's the main thing. Nobody would be doing this if nobody was listening to it. Like, zero, you guys got to listen to it. It's good stuff.
I'd still be doing this, probably.
Hey, let me say something nice to the damn fans, okay? I'm trying to be a good guy here so people will want me back, right? I'm trying to, so anyway, whatever. I mean, then fine, fucking listen to the show or don't.
Love
That's the mma-analysis spirit.
That is good stuff. Yeah, we're pumping. Lance is sick when he misses a Do Bronx breakdown.
And Drew.
You
missed them both.
It's been a rough month in the official.
We're pumping him full of all the steroids, so we'll try to get him on the very last card of the year next week. Because after that we're gonna have a nice long break. Probably do a year-end, year-end review of first week of the year or something like that. Because we got a nice break, which hasn't happened in a long time, so everybody can get replenished and get the COVID.
The champion show. We got to do the champion show.
Yes, sir.
We made
over the holidays.
We made a bunch of picks last year, didn't we?
Yep.
Well,
I don't think I was around for that one.
A couple of us.
Oh, yeah. We were still kind of. We were just a trio still then, right?
Yeah, just a trio back.
Hey, COVID got like all the band back together. Like, I guess there was one good thing that come from
one good thing from a pandemic.
Right. I know you guys are sick of listening to me host this show. So hopefully Lance gets those good drugs. Maybe it'll be a Hanukkah miracle for him to come through, and every day he just gets a different round of steroids for the 8 nights.
The dude's gonna look like the Mountain when he shows back up.
He's gonna look like Jared Vanderaa when he comes back.
No, so bad.
But hopefully we'll have Lance back for the year-end show. Andrew, as always, you're welcome back whenever. We always appreciate having you. And we the rest of us are going to be here to break down shitty fights and give you some bets on some super degen stuff, and we'll see how it goes. We don't really give a fuck. None of us. We've all got real lives, and whatever happens on here. I
can't do 17 hours of tape study, so you can just throw it out.
We don't give a shit what happens on here. It's just fun.
I still win money at this bullshit. That's how easy.
Yes, sir. It's more than you can say for a lot of these professionals out there.
Dude, I'm trying to turn this into my 9-to-5, my everyday. Sign up on my Patreon and my OnlyFans.
Yep, OnlyFans.
And that's how I'm going to make it.
Only if I can be on your platinum tier by donating the most money. So I can see the real good pictures.
That's right. Asshole and everything. But that's going to do it for us. This week we will be back for UFC Vegas, ESPN Plus, whatever the fuck it is next week. But this should be a fun one because at the very least, we get some Do Bronx in the co-main event.